Welcome back to the channel on a chilly but otherwise sunny morning. Many of you that have followed my channel for a while now will remember that I did a video in January about the new highway code rule changes, which set a priority, a hierarchy if you will, between road users, prioritizing those that are likely to be caused the most harm. This is a brief video of my experience with that so far and a request to you, so please keep watching. But first of all, if you're new to me, I'm a barrister who helps you understand law on this channel, and just recently sharing my financial tidbits and secrets of success and wealth as well to assist you along the way. So you'll remember, if you watched it, when I first did that video in January, that I said it was going to be a bit of chaos and it's going to affect everybody. Now, my experience with it, having come some 10 months or not quite 10 months so far, has been very mixed in that, for the most part, most people still don't really seem to understand or accept, acknowledge or abide by the new hierarchical structure between road users. That being, if a pedestrian is waiting to cross a road and a vehicle is going to turn into that road, that vehicle should wait and allow that pedestrian to cross the road first. Now, clearly the rules are stronger if someone is already in the road. You must allow them to cross the road because they're already in the road, and it would be nonsensical to say that you could just carry on anyway and that they should jump out of the way. But the new rules also depend on cooperation and education of road users across the country. So if someone doesn't know what those rules are, and you're supposed to know what those rules are, and someone else is complying with those rules, it might be somewhat confusing and it might be somewhat dangerous. So as I said, my experience with this so far has been relatively mixed, in that I have been in the situation where I've been crossing the road and a car has come hurtling past and even gestured at me to get out of the road. And this wasn't right back when the rules changed, this was just recently. And of course, that the rule didn't change. If you're in the road, you're supposed to stop the car and allow the person to cross the road, because it's no good saying that they shouldn't be in the road because you're a car and you're driving down and they should get out of the way. That's obviously not the case. But I genuinely can't remember any occurrence that I've been a pedestrian waiting to cross a road into which a vehicle was turning, that they've stopped to allow me to cross the road. Not once. And yet I've done that as a driver for lots of other pedestrians, and I've had vehicles behind me. Some have been patient and just allowed the person to cross and perhaps understood what's going on. Others have gestured to me and hit the horn and got aggressive and frustrated because I've stopped to allow someone to cross the road. And I can only infer that their thought process is, why are you stopping to allow someone to cross the road? Why don't you just turn into the road so we can all get going? But of course, that is what the new rules say. You should give way to a pedestrian who is waiting to cross the road or looks like they are about to be crossing the road, or certainly if they are already in the road. As I said, I've had mixed experience with all three. But also that with cyclists, the old rule being that the road position wasn't really mentioned a great deal for cyclists in the road, but the new rules suggest that cyclists should ideally be in the centre of the lane to make themselves visible. And of course, you must leave a minimum of 1.5 meters on roads with speeds of up to 30 miles an hour. But I've not really seen that either. Certainly in lots of the videos that have circulated online, I've seen so many near misses, near collisions, and of course that really unfortunate one just recently where the van actually turned around and came back and ran him off the bike. Now, none of these are acceptable, obviously, but in this video I'm really talking about the rules. Now, I haven't really seen a great deal of drivers driving with the care that I believe that they should, and certainly not following a lot of the rules. Overall, I think the rules have had a positive effect. I think there's a trickle-out education. I think in part thanks to the likes of Ashley Neal. I'll link him in the channel if you're not familiar. It's a fantastic channel. And of course, myself trying to raise awareness to all of these rules and these issues and the problems that they ensue. But I wonder if I can hand over to you in the comment section. Have you had any specific experiences with being a driver when someone is waiting to cross the road? Have you stopped? If you've stopped, what has happened? Have you allowed them to cross, and did vehicles around you get frustrated? Have you at any point stopped to allow them to cross the road and the pedestrians just stood there looking confused as to why you stopped and that they are just waiting for you to go before they cross the road? I certainly had that with a young child just probably a week or two ago. I had obviously stopped. It was not a designated crossing, but it was a designated point where people do tend to cross. So it's sort of that midway. It's one of these where it's not a light controlled crossing, it's not a zebra crossing, it's not a pelican crossing or anything else. It's just a point where a pathway meets another pathway and they come together at this point on the road. It's also accompanied by traffic calming measures either side of that point in the road. So it's a natural place really for vehicles to come to a stop to allow pedestrians to cross the road at that point. But as I said, this young girl just wouldn't cross the road. I was sat there, the other driver was sat there, she just would not cross the road. Some might say that's sensible in that she was waiting for the cars to be well and truly gone before she would cross the road, but I think she'd be there for quite some time. But she wouldn't cross the road. So it was a bit of a stalemate, really. Myself and the other vehicle were sitting there waiting for her to cross the road, but she wouldn't cross the road. And ultimately, someone is going to have to make a decision in those situations. It's either the pedestrian or it's one of the drivers going to just have to go. Most of those cases will resolve themselves, but I do wonder what effect it has had on the vast majority of drivers. So let me know in the comments, have you had this experience to you? Do you have any dash cam footage of exactly this happening? I would like to feature it on this channel, talk about it, get some views going about it, because all the while, education is key. These are the rules, they are there for a reason, they are setting priorities and hierarchies based on the vulnerability of these road users, and ultimately everybody should be following these rules. So I'll be very interested in your comments, I'll be very interested in your clips. You can send them to clips@blackbeltbarrister.com. If you've got requests for videos, you can send those to requests@blackbeltbarrister.com. But I know many of you do also email asking for formal legal advice. Please send those to clerks, which is clerks@shensmith.com, which is my law firm. I don't plug my firm on this channel, as you well know, but lots of people are sending requests for advice to the wrong email address, and it's not going to land with clerks, and you will not receive formal legal advice emailing the wrong address. So please send it to clerks and they will deal with it. But in the meantime, I look forward to reading your comments. Please like the video and subscribe, and as always, thank you for watching.